Hello, I want to go over how to go from a class diagram to Python script. And let's take a look at this class diagram. So this class diagram has three classes. The document is a superclass, and then it's got a subclass book, another subclass called email. And class diagrams typically capture the attributes as well as the methods. Now, since we're talking about Python script, there are some special methods specific to Python, such as double underscore rep method. And then the attributes are shown right below the class name, and then a solid line, then the list of methods that this class will respond to are also shown in a class. Now, if you have superclass, this is a document is a superclass, and book is a subclass, because all books are documents and some documents are books. And the attributes such as document ID and author names that are common to both document and book, so we keep it as part of author name, as part of document. The book has some special attributes such as title of a book as well as publisher of a book that do not apply to all documents, but only documents that are books. So the special class or a book class has these attributes that are they are common only for books, not for all documents. Similarly, another kind of document could be an email. An email document has a subject line and a send to line and send date line. And so these are specific to email documents. And the attributes of document ID and author name, they are common to all three. So we can create an instance of a document class, or you can create an instance of a book class, or you can create an instance of an email class. So when I say instance of a class, that means an object. So now the attributes are all right. Now the methods, there are special methods for document. Well, for date since is a special method for email. So just to know how many dates have passed since the email was sent, so that you want to calculate some difference between the today's date and sent date as part of this method. Add author names will be an attribute for all documents. Okay, of course it's totally made up, so it may not make realistic sense, but the idea is to go from a class diagram like this and take it into Python script. All right, so let's start by defining the class. So we'll start by defining class document, and so the document class will have we need to specify what so to define a class, you start by class document, and then next step is you need to define an initialize method for that, and that's a double underscore init. And then you got to specify what all attributes will this receive for it to create an instance of a document. So we got self is the first thing. Every this is going to be the name of the object that will be created, followed by document ID and authors. Okay, so document ID, authors. Okay, and once we got this, we will then simply assign these parameters to attributes of the class. So self dot document ID equals is an assignment. Then similarly self dot authors equals, I expect a list of authors to be submitted, so that will get saved to authors. Let's go ahead and save this, and okay. Next we want to create a rep method. So def it's double underscore or dunder, and this of course will need self as the argument. It needs to know what object we're talking about, so the self refers to the current object. The method itself will return a formatted string, and this formatted string will have basically information as part of the document. They will be sent back to the program that's trying to access the string equivalent of document. So the underscore rep method is a specialist method that is used for returning a string equivalent of the object. Okay, so what are we returning? We are going to be returning document ID and authors. So ID is self dot document ID, comma authors is self.authors, and that's it. Okay, all right, now that we have it, we can now test it. Okay, so let's go ahead and save this, and now it has been saved to a document called documents. All right, so to create an instance, we will do something like this. We'll do doc1 equals document, and I need to specify document ID 101, and author names, let me put them maybe sub in an array of author names. And so we'll have and to Brenda and Kate. Okay, so those are the authors. So we got this information. This is created. Code analysis, invalid syntax. Okay, so the document ID is this. Okay, all right. So let's see how this will run. Okay, a document ID self.document ID. Okay, let's see what's the problem here. Invalid syntax. Okay, we got self.authors. Okay. Got a typo here. All right, let's check it out. So it ran created, but let's print what's in document ID. Print doc1, and when you run this, it shows you the formatted output. Oh, okay. All right, so that works good. So we got rep method taken care of. Or add author name is the next method that I want to program. So that has to be part of the document methods. So what we'll do is we'll simply assume that authors can be a list, already a list, and we'll simply call the .append method, and also it'll be self dot authors dot append whatever author name is submitted through the parameters. Okay, so let's test it. We'll call doc1 dot add author name, and this time let's add author Dave, and then let's print doc just to verify it's going through fine. Okay, check it out. So that worked. So we got author name got added. That's good. Alright, so next thing is we're going to try and create a subclass. So subclass is class and book is a document type, so you got to use that. Now book has document ID, author names, and also publisher and title. Okay, so we have to have a special init method for book, and this will of course use self and also whatever that was being used by the parent class. In addition, special attributes such as publisher and title. Will be submitted for the def init method, and so it needs to first create a superclass object. So to do that, I'll call a function called super, and then that'll give me access to the superclass, and within that I'll call the underscore init function, the init method, and to that init method I will submit document ID and authors. Okay, very good. And then I have the couple other attributes special to book. So self dot publisher equals publisher, self dot title equals title, and the rep method also have to be updated. Right now it's going to simply display document ID and author name, and okay, and that what I need is I also need to show publisher and title for this. So def rep, and this will take in the current object's reference, and then it will return. We need to return whatever the super class was returning, as well as we'll add publisher and title to it. So again, it's going to be a string formatted, and we will return with whatever super class dot rep returns. Okay, and in addition we'll also make it return publisher is self dot publisher, comma, we have title, is self dot title, and close quotation. So we got that, and then now what we need to do is we have to create a new, to test it. Let's do this. Let's create another document 2 equals book, and this one will given a different number, and the author names will be Boyd and Carson, and publisher is Wiley, and title is basic chemistry. Okay, that's the title of the book. And now to test, so that should create book object. Then we want to test the rep method for book. So all I have to do is print doc2. All right, let's check it out. There you go. So we got the result coming back here. So doc2 is authors Boyd, publisher, and title. So that is working out good. All right. So the next step is to go to the next class. So that will be email. Okay. So email will be another subclass, and that will be based on the document superclass. Just like before, we need to specify the def init method, and the def init method will of course accept whatever that is needed for creating the superclass, and also whatever special to the subclass subject sent to and sent date. Subject sent to sent date. All right, so these are the four, and the first thing is I need to call this one to initialize the superclass related attributes. Then all I have to do is assign subject to a subject attribute. Then to the sent to attribute, I will assign the sent to parameter, and to the sent date, date will be treated as a date, and date type object sent date equals sent date. All right, now this will create it, and then of course we also need the repr method for this, in addition to def underscore rep. We'll take one copy of the current object as an argument, and return this part will be as it is. In addition, it'll also have attributes specific to email, such as we got subject is self dots subject comma, sent to is self dot sent to comma, we got sent date will be self dot sent date, and then in quotation. All right, so here we go. I think it should be good. Let's verify if it works. And so doc3 will be an email, and it's going to accept document ID. Let's say 103, and authors, let's say it's simply one author, and the subject is going to be subject is testing, sent to is, let's say, is Wilson, sent date, for now let me just use string to 19/2021. Later I'm going to use our date formatted type. This is just to test if this script so far works. So now that I have it, let me go ahead and see if the doc3 can be printed. Okay. All right, let's check it out. All right, it works. Okay, very good. Now, all right. Now to handle date in Python, we have to import a package or library called datetime. So I'll just do import datetime. Okay, and now datetime, to test it, to see how it works, let's go ahead and try it out on the interactive Python interface just to see. Import date, just to learn about datetime again. So now datetime, of course, to find out about it, you can always go and look at the basic what do you call documentation And okay, so this is from just from Python library, basic data time types. This is not the most friendly thing to read, but since it's a reference, if you want to know today's date, you can just search for the word today in here. Okay, so Control F, today. So there's a method called today, which returns a current local date. So we can check it out by doing it right here. Import date time. So I can type in date time dot date dot today. And that's what it is. And to find out what data type that is, I can see the type of that. That's a date time dot date type. Okay, so these are not simple data types, a little bit complex data types. And so if you want to store, let's say, sent date as a date, and right now I was storing as a string, that's not good. And so what I need to do is I need to build a date based on month, date, and year. So to do that, there is this method in datetime. So it's datetime dot date, and I can specify the arguments. So notice I need to specify year, month, and day to build the date object. So 2021, month 2, and date 19. All right, so that's how you build a date type. And this, of course, is also a date type object. So in here, what I'll do is I can also use the today method. So in place of this, I will simply use this expression today. Okay. All right, so you got that. Now, of course, let's see how this works out. Click run. And there it is. Sent date. It comes with the date, year, month, and date. That's good. And if I want to have a hard-coded date, I could have used a format like this. And if I wanted to, and also there are other things you can do with dates, is to sort of find the difference between two dates. Okay. Okay. So let's say I already have today's date. I know what that is. Let's say I want to store it to a variable called today equals datetime dot date dot today. So that's a function that will return today's date, and that will be stored to an object called today. So today now has that. Now also, let's say I want to have a something in the past. So last week, I'll say is datetime dot date, and last week is year 2021, month 2, and last week is 12th. Okay, that's last week. So I got today and last week as two dates in memory right now. So if I do today minus last week, see what happens. It comes back with a time delta type data type, and the value is days 7. So time delta is a special type of data that keeps the difference between two time points, and the difference has days as one of its components, and we can simply see what that is. So of course, if you do today minus last week, okay, so that expression, and then you can you want the days part of that, just press days. There it is. So this will give you the days part of the difference between today and last week, and it's a pure integer. Okay, so this is what I'm going to use to model the date since method. Okay, so I'll go in there and write a new def called def dates since, and okay, and we need to know today's date and the date of the email, and then result will return that as a number. Okay, so return, what do I want to return? I want to return a number. The number will be the difference between today's date, so date time dot date dot today minus the date the email was sent on. So self dot sent date, because sent date is a date, and this will return a time delta, and I want the days part of it to be returned. Okay, and so let's go ahead and check it out. So print doc3 is created. Now I will change this date. Instead of today's date, I will say this email was sent last week. Okay, so I'll do date time dot date 2021 month 2, and 2 weeks from 2 weeks ago, let's say. So there'll be January 5th. Okay, I'm sorry, February 5th. And let's check it out. Let's run this. Okay, so 2/5, that's a date. Now next thing, I also want to display the date since, so I'll go ahead and do print doc3 dot date since, and that's a method, so I need to use open close parentheses after that, and click run. So it's dates since, wait a minute, oh yeah, the spelling, dates since. Okay, this, there you go, and it says 24. Okay, so that works. All right, so this way I have shown you how to take a class diagram like this and convert that into Python script. And so these are the these are the definitions of these classes and superclass and two subclasses, and attributes for superclass, attributes for subclass, methods for superclass, and methods for subclass, and so on. All right, now that we have it, let's go ahead and reuse this. Now, one of the things we can do is this particular class definition is the kind of it's a basic code that we want to reuse. Now, if you want to reuse in many different applications, I can't simply copy this and paste it into. Let's say if I want to have another program that I want to use document methods, document classifications, and so on. So what I have to do is I will then simply make it import here. Okay, so I'll do import, or I'll do this from documents import. I will import document, comma, book, comma, email. Very good. So once I do that, I don't have to have the class definitions here. So all this testing I was doing here, I can simply take this and move it to here. So this will be the place where I test this document. Okay, and of course I need to have this import date here also. Okay, all right, so that way now, so the definition is in this file, and you save this, and whereas the usage of this definition is in this file. And let me show you that it works, and go ahead and so this is the untitled. Let me run this. There you go. So this works. All right. So that's a demonstration of how to take it from a class diagram and then convert that to Python script. And what I'll do is I'll share this with you, so you can either reuse it or study it for reference. All right. Thanks.